Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. As you can tell by my voice, there barely is one, but we're going to power through, so I do apologize for that. We have 3 new stages for Dokkan Chronicles. We have the 5th year, 6th year, and 7th year. And as always, there is missions to come with these new stages as well. All of them are the same, use one of each typing on each stage. So we're going to complete all the new stages, all the new missions in one video. We're going to try and have a story time. And let me know how you found this down in the comments. So the 5th year stage is units released before the end of March 2020. COVID times. Which honestly feels so long ago at this point. We've even got the new Super Easy Aid Vegito and Buhan on our team. And I reckon this team is good enough to just glide through. Especially because this team, it's a full margin Buu Saga team. It's literally just filled with the most recent Easy A's and Super Easy A's. So this should be fairly easy to do. Once again, I do apologize for the voice, but we got to power through. We got to stay on the grind. If my voice was probably any worse than this, also / gone, then I wouldn't be here. But as I said, we have to stay on the grind. We got to keep trucking through, and that's exactly what I'm doing. It's exactly what I'm going to do. Although our rotations are looking like a bit of a mess. I won't lie. Like a very big mess. So as long as Vegetos don't get super attacked, well, specifically the Fizz ones, they were mainly here for the lead. We're good. As long as they just get hit by normals, we're good. Because everyone knows how bad this Fizz Super Vegito is. Bro's got no defense. Sure, he's got a lot of damage reduction on normals, but outside of that, bro is built like a piece of paper. So one super attack will absolutely disintegrate him. But in terms of the 5th year, because we've had a story time like every single stage related to the anniversary. The 5th anniversary, so that was Vegito and Gogeta. I don't actually know if I was making content at this point. I don't think I was. I could be wrong. But I don't actually think I was making content at this moment in time. But I honestly can't remember. But I don't think I was. I don't think I was. I think at this point, again, this would have been before this channel even existed. Are we okay? Are we good? I mean, we're alive. The Fizz one definitely can't do that, but I mean, we're alive. So that's all that matters, right? But yeah, I'm pretty sure the 5th anniversary, I wasn't making content. I think that just was a normal day at home. The banners dropped, woke up, summoned, sent some screenshots into the group chat. Yo, look what I got, type thing. I remember getting VB fairly quickly during the 5th anniversary, like really quickly. It wasn't like any first multi or anything, but I remember him coming out pretty quickly, and then Gogeta just took a while. Not like a whole celebration kind of while. Didn't need to use tickets, but Gogeta was a little bit more stubborn. It took a little bit longer for Gogeta to pop up in the summons. But lucky enough, we managed to walk away with both. I think I've been fairly lucky when it comes to anniversary summons. Aside from the 8th anniversary, that was probably the worst my anniversary summons have ever gone. Good thing I wasn't overly bothered by those compared to other anniversaries. But the 8th anniversary, definitely my worst. 100% my worst. And I'm hoping for this anniversary, it's not going to be more of the same. Because so far, I haven't pulled Vegito or SSBE. Now, I haven't actually gone back on the Carnival LR banner since getting Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which I don't actually plan to go back onto that banner and summon. Like, don't get me wrong, I would like all of them. SSBE, Jeets, he's my boy. I would like a copy, sure. But I'm not going to hop back into the Carnival LR banner. He's good, but he's not as good as Carnival LR Straight for Goku. Nowhere near as good as Vegito. So lucky enough for me, even though that is my boy, kind of pains my soul just a little bit to kind of leave him in the dust like that. He's going to be left. He's going to be left. We can get him at a later date. It's all cool. But I cannot pull Vegito to save my life. I have done like an extra 3, 4, maybe even more rotations off camera. Like I've prepared recording them, but I've done them off video in prep to potentially pull Vegito and not pulled a single copy. The game does not want me to have them whatsoever. Now the bad thing is we've got the Bootengs transformation and not the Buhan transformation. I didn't actually notice where my HP was at. I don't even remember what this one does. Just stats, but I mean, considering this is only the 5th year stage, it should probably be okay, but just in case we're not, we'll have it set up like this. 6 key spheres with Buhan, couple rainbow key spheres. That means crit, that means a ton of damage. Goku, I hope you made a wish with that Dragon Ball you're holding in your hand. I hope you had the 6 others to make a wish from Shenron, because the amount of damage you're going to be taking from Buhan in a minute, yeah, it's going to clock your jaw different. Hold the crit counter. Enjoy those. 27.9 million. On a 170 lead, 27.9 million. Yeah, hold the damage. That's only with 6 key spheres as well. And a triple. And a triple. You're making me raise my voice, Goku. You're making me raise my voice and I sound like a petulant child. But hold that. The triple. That was like 80 million damage in total. Which is crazy. I love that Buhan so much. He's so good. Need to try him against Goku and Frieza. But yeah, when it comes to the anniversary right now, Dokkan does not want me to have Vegito. I mean, fingers crossed it's because I'm going to get Gogeta fairly easily. Then I can go back to summon to Vegito. But they just don't want to give me him. And I've seen people put on the timeline like, is this one of the worst years when it comes to summoning for an anniversary unit? Like, it seems like a lot of people are fairly unlucky. Although I doubt it, because the rates are still the exact same. They wouldn't be allowed to just change them, especially without saying anything. So what I think is a lot of people getting unlucky. And obviously, what usually happens is the minority is very vocal about getting unlucky. So that's probably just the case. But I am one of the minority. I cannot pull of a Vegito to save my life. Boo duos, getting a ton of them. I went for having like 1 to having probably that unit now rainbowed. I didn't have the Super Saiyan Blues from Worldwide. I now have them, potentially 2 of them. But honestly, Vegito just does not want to come up in my summon. So hopefully Gogeta is a lot easier than this. But there we go. 5th year complete. Let's move on to the 6th. Now we have year 6, which is probably a very good year. From the units I've seen while looking through the units to decide what team I make, there's some very good units in here. Some very, very good units in here. And easily the year of reps. The year of reps Universe 7. That whole 6th anniversary being like based around Dragon Ball Super and the Tournament of Power introduced one of the best categories in the game at the time that was untouchable. It was just untouchable. You know, during that Annie, we got AGLUI, who was the absolute go-to when it came to the brand new God event. We had SSB, who, funny enough, it didn't take us until a few months after the anniversary to realize that in SSB wasn't that good. Dokkan did my boy dirt. Although I will say, when he got his EZA, Dokkan definitely rectified that, so I'll let you off. But he was straight doo-doo. AGLUI, you wanted him. Him and Tech Caulifla were the go-tos when it came to finishing the God event. Like, you needed them to, especially AGLUI. But then in that year we had, well, not even just that year, but we also had Goku and Frieza. We had the 2 anniversary units. Then we had the part 2 LRs, like even the free-to-play units, which at that point, the Goku and Vegeta event still would have been some of the most difficult content in the game. That would have still been considered difficult at that point until the God event dropped. So we literally had the year of reps. And that's when free-to-play units on the Reps Universe 7 team were actually still usable. Like, they were competitive in the Goku and Vegeta event. The Tech, Roshi, and Tien, the Int 18 and Krillin, free-to-play LR Roshi, you literally ran a full free-to-play team, more or less, with the 6th anniversary LRs. It was crazy. Alongside also Goku and Frieza as well, potentially. And it's kind of mad how it's kind of... It might come full circle in a week. Because we have next week. Or should be next week. I think it's next week. Or maybe it's in a few days. But next week is when part 2 should start. But it's mad that in a week's time, we're going to get, of course, the new Dokkan Fest, the new part 2 LRs, the Carnival LRs, and for the Dragon Ball Super spot, we may be getting a new Goku and Frieza. And we haven't had one since 2018. That's almost 7 years. And we've only ever had one Goku and Frieza in the entire game. We've only ever had one of them. And they came all the way back out in 2018. That's crazy. Because of course, for the one of the Carnival LRs, the part 2 unit has to be, one of them has to be a Dragon Ball Super unit. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be Goku and Frieza, but there's a chance. There is a chance. So the fact that in about a week's time, we may be getting a brand new one after almost 7 years is kind of crazy. And more so, I'm surprised we haven't had a new Goku and Frieza in that amount of time. Because that's a long time. Think about units in the game that have had 2, maybe 3 units in 7 years. Versus Goku and Frieza, who have only ever had that one Tech LR. So it's crazy. It's crazy that we finally might be getting a new one, and for the fact it's taken so long to potentially finally get a new one. But I hope they do. I mean, I don't mind what they do. Really? You don't want to dodge? Thank you. I mean, I don't really mind what they do regardless. I mean, I think Orange Piccolo would be kind of sick. I don't think they're going to do it though. But I think if I had to pick, if you told me you had to pick one, what is your preference for that Dragon Ball Super Carnival LR? I'm going with Goku and Frieza. Just because it's been so long, I would love to see updated animations. They would work really well with EZA, AGL UI, in SSB. Regardless of what you think about the strength of Carnival LR SSB, would work well with him. And they can also implement the new reversible exchange mechanic. You can start as Goku, you can then switch into Frieza, and then switch back whenever you like. And then they can have an active skill or a standby where the active skill just pops and 17 gets involved. You play out the whole sequence where Goku chucks Frieza. You have the Super Saiyan flashing on and off. 17's in the animation. Or you can have a standby where 17 comes out. He is your standby. You can't attack. They're super defensive, super bulky for what, 3-4 turns. And then when the gauge is filled, you then use the active skill and then plays into that same sequence from the end of the Tournament of Power. Personally, to me, I think that would work really well. Like really, really well. Again, as I said, it's long overdue. We haven't had a new one in almost 7 years. So imagine how hard, imagine how cold and how peak them current Dokkan animations would go on that moment from the Tournament of Power with a new LR Goku and Frieza. So, as I said, if I had to pick, if I had to have a preference, I would definitely lean more towards that. But the 6th anniversary, or at least the year 6 as a whole, like the roster of units that dropped, in literally a month, it became the year of Reps Universe 7. That was like one of the most untouchable categories in the whole game. And I mean, maybe Reps is making a comeback. I say a comeback, the category is still kind of good as it is. But we could easily see Reps of one of the strongest categories right now again, if we also get a new LR Goku and Frieza to go with EZA AGL UI, EZA SSBE, all of the EZA units, like Golden Frieza and 17, Universe 7 unit. There's also Tech UI in his domain, let's not forget, EZA Blue Boys. Like, there is options when it comes to this team. And I'm completely okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. But I have had an anniversary story for every anniversary so far. And year 6 is no different. I do have an anniversary story when it comes to year 6. Which is, if you didn't know, I mentioned this in the previous Dokkan Chronicles video. I used to have a whole different channel when I uploaded FIFA. This channel wasn't even a thing. Now, come around to the 6th anniversary. The 6th anniversary was the first anniversary I made content on this channel here. So up until the 6th anniversary is when this channel was made and became a thing. I think I made this channel like a few months before the actual Annie started, and I was doing, what's that game called? My Hero Strongest Hero content while doing Dokkan content. I think around the time like Easy A Tapion dropped, like the AGL and the Tech one. And then this would have been the first anniversary. The 6th anniversary was the first anniversary I made content on the channel you're currently seeing now. And during like the 6th year as a whole, not the anniversary itself, that would have been the year I decided to completely sack off the old channel and make this channel my main channel and only upload on this channel. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. But there we go, 6th year complete. Time to move on to probably one of the most gas years we've ever had in Dokkan, the 7th year. We've made it to the 7th year stage, and I'll be real, I don't actually know how I've managed to make it this far. I'm surprised my voice hasn't given up and given out. But we've made it. We've made it. And I'm kind of happy I've just kind of made it through, because I'm not gonna lie, your boy's starting to struggle. The voice is starting to strain. I don't even drink tea, but I think I should drink some tea. That's how bad it is. I'm struggling. I'm struggling. But we've made it this far. The 7th year. The 7th year. What a year in Dokkan the 7th anniversary was. I don't think, aside from, well, the 10th anniversary, and I wouldn't even say the 9th anniversary as a whole. I'm not saying it's a bad anniversary, but I think Beast specifically is what got or generated most of the hype from last year. Good dodge. I was actually waiting for that. I was like, are you going to dodge? Good dodge. But I think as a whole for both headlining units, there was nothing wrong with Broly. Like, Broly was sick, but the main attraction was Beast from that year. But I don't think we've had an anniversary, maybe aside from the 10th, that was as hype as the 7th anniversary. I think the 7th anniversary is probably one of the best anniversaries we've ever had, still to this day. Might not still be the best, but I do still think it's one of the best. So you're probably looking at like top 3, easily like top 3 anniversary, hands down. To me, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, even before we got any of the content revealed, even before we got any of the Easy A's, seeing the reveal for the Year 7 gods in the Year 7 SSJ4s was hype enough in itself. They were hype choices, their animations were sick, especially for the 7th anniversary. And the crazy thing is, and if you ever need a reality check, just play Dokkan. Because Dokkan always somehow finds a way to make me feel old. Even though it's already made me feel old so many times, it will always find another way to do that. Because I'm thinking about it right now. I'm deep in it. Right? The Year 7 LRs are going to get their Easy A's. They haven't been confirmed, they haven't been shown yet, but we know they're going to get them, right? They do it every year. We're up to the 7th year LRs. They're going to get their Easy A's during the 10th anniversary. And I know this isn't the craziest thing because it naturally happens in every anniversary now. But just think, I was playing Dokkan, still, obviously, during the 7th anniversary. That was the 2nd anniversary I made content on this channel specifically. 3rd in total, but the 2nd year on this channel. That was my 2nd year on this channel alone. I was there when they were released. I pulled both. They were dominant for like 6 months to a year leading up to the 8th anniversary. And now just think, in a couple weeks time, don't know exactly when, but in a couple weeks time at some point, they will be getting their Easy A's. And I was there. I was there for it when they initially dropped, and they were the best units in the game. And they were the most hype units I think we've ever gotten, or at least one of. And in a couple weeks time, both year 7 LRs will be easy aim. I said, if you ever need a reality check, if you ever want to make yourself feel old, just play Dokkan and you'll do that in no time at all. This game will make you feel old. I'm 25, soon to be 26, and this game makes me feel old. I'm not even old. I mean, to some of you, potentially I am, but I'm technically not even old. And this game makes me feel like I'm 70 years old. It's crazy. Just wanted to deep that for a moment. You know, I've had an anniversary story for every anniversary. This one I don't really have too much of, apart from, as I said, this was the second year, or at least the second anniversary on this channel doing Dokkan content. The second anniversary on this channel I was making content for. But to me, still one of the best anniversaries I think we've ever gotten. From both year 7 LRs, how hyped they were when they were shown, then seeing their animations, then after that their kits. They were amazing. This was the first year that Red Zone was introduced as well. Let's not forget about that. That was the first year. The 7th anniversary itself was when Red Zone was initially introduced. An event that we get a new one like potentially 2-3 times a year of. And that was the first time it was ever implemented into Dokkan. And the funny thing is, if you deep it right now, I bet all of you watching remember how long it took you and where you was when you finally beat Red Zone Broly for the first time. Because I don't think in Dokkan history we've ever gotten an enemy on release as difficult as Broly. No, I'm not saying when Goku and Frieza first dropped, they weren't difficult. They were. On global, and this tended to happen before the sync, we typically have a few more releases and easy A's that would help out on what was most difficult on JP, so it becomes a little bit easier. Like, don't get me wrong, Goku and Frieza, difficult. Beast, somewhat difficult. I remember kind of breezing through him because of what global had. But those events, those enemies were difficult. Do not get me wrong. However, I think on initial release, the first day of release, Red Zone Broly, out of any recent enemy we've had in Dokkan right now, Red Zone Broly, and I don't think we've ever had it since. I don't think hardly anyone beat him when he first dropped. I think it genuinely took a lot of people a few days at least to potentially a week. And usually if you get the brand new anniversary units and have the top tier units in the game, you know, it may still be difficult. You may get a little bit unlucky with RNG. You still may die. It might take you a couple of attempts. But most of the time, a lot of people do it on the first day. Whether that's for content reasons, just to do it, or whether because they want the stones. But I don't think we've had an enemy since that was genuinely that difficult and that impactful on the day of release, to where it took people at least a few days to a week to actually beat him for the very first time. And that was with the best units and best teams in the game. I was one of them. I had both year 7 LRs, even with both of them, and running Easy A Tech God Goku, who still to this day was one of the best Easy A's to drop during that anniversary, one of the best Easy A's to come out the 7th anniversary. Even if you had him and all the best units to go with him in the year 7 LRs, because he was Broly's kryptonite. He was Broly's kryptonite because of that damage reduction against Pure Saiyans and movie bosses. Even with them and the best team, you still had to get lucky with RNG to beat Broly. That's how difficult he was. Whether you played it right and transformed the gods and Super Saiyan 4s to get them at their best a little bit early than you wanted to, especially that strength phase with the AoEs, that caught everyone off guard. If a wrong unit got AoE'd, or a unit didn't dodge, for example, you were dead. Your run was over. Or you didn't use an item. That was the last time I think we've ever had an event where you kind of needed to double Whis. That strength phase made you double Whis to make sure you even made it to the final phase. To even make sure you made it to the final stage of Broly, to have a chance of beating him. Sure, the closest I think we've had recently is Golden Freezer in 17. You can't dodge them. However, there are so many good units in the game that you can make it. And especially if you did it with items, you'll make it and you'll probably still have both items by the time you get to Goku and Frieza. But that's not to say that Goku and Frieza aren't difficult. Obviously, they are. But on Broly's release, we've never had, I don't think, an event and an enemy drop like that where it was that difficult. Where you are double Whising just to get to the final phase. Not actually even beat it or win. Just to get a chance to hopefully beat it. And just get to the final phase. That AoE strength phase, honestly, I think ruined a lot of people's runs. If the blues didn't dodge, if Tech God Goku wasn't there to soak up damage, especially if the SSJ4s got hit with type disadvantage. As I said, that phase itself ruined so many runs. And you couldn't get past it without double Whising majority of the time. You could have got lucky and maybe got a couple of extra stacks in on the gods and the SSJ4s. You would still have to transform them before you got to the final phase though. That's how difficult Broly was. I don't think there was ever a time when that first dropped where you could literally leave them untransformed, stack as much as you wanted to, and then transform at the very end and have them at the strongest they could be. It just wasn't possible. And as I said, I don't think we've had an event or an enemy as difficult as that since. Still, sure, they've still been very difficult, but not to the point where you're taking days and weeks to beat them for the first time. But honestly, I don't think we'd ever have an anniversary as good as the 7th anniversary again, just because of how much of a novelty it was. The Easy A's were amazing, the hype was there, the big number 7 at the time. We had an EX party anniversary for the first time, the Easy A, the year 4s, the year 3s. It had so much hype, so many stones, and it was a good anniversary through part 1, 2, and I can't remember if they had a third, I think they did. But it was hyped through every single part, including the EX part. And I don't think there'll be an anniversary quite just the same, maybe apart from the 10th, but we still have yet to go through this yet. But I don't think until the 10th anniversary is done, we're ever going to have an Annie as hype as the 7th. And there we have it. All the new stages in Dokkan Chronicles complete, and alongside that, all the new missions. So I'll take my reward tickets. Once again, I apologize for the voice. There's not much I can do, but your boy's got to power through, get on with the grind until my voice is gone or I get better. We'll find which one happens first.